Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Jeanelle Slade.
And I'm Russ Riesinger. Authorities in Laurel are investigating what they're calling an unattended death in the 600 block of 5th Avenue tonight.
Now, details are thin, but Laurel Police Chief Stanley Langvey says in a news release there is no evidence to suggest a threat to the public. However, this unattended death is being treated as suspicious. Police are on scene now and are expected to be there until tomorrow morning.
Police are asking parents who are transporting kids to school tomorrow to please avoid that area.
Well, coronavirus is creating concerns around the world and also here in Montana.
That virus blamed for sickening tens of thousands of people in China, with the death toll there now topping 1,000 people after reports of more than 100 new deaths just today.
Now, tonight, a person is sick and is now in isolation at Bozeman Deaconess Hospital out of concerns for coronavirus.
There's no confirmation yet that the person actually has the virus, but city county health officials do say the patient does have a travel history to mainland China where the virus is believed to have originated.
Officials say the situation is not unexpected and the department has been preparing for this. They also say the risk to others in Montana is very low. We've also learned the state has been monitoring 10 to 15 other individuals across Montana, but they are not showing any symptoms of concern.
More in health news tonight. Yellowstone County just got its report card back on the overall health of the community.
Now, the report is conducted by Riverstone Health, Billings Clinic, and St. Vincent Healthcare. The goals to increase Yellowstone County's lifespan and provide a better quality of life.
Q2's Mitch Legge joins us now with more. Mitch?
Well, Russ and Jeanelle, the study is called the Community Health Needs Assessment, and this is the 5th time it has been conducted since 2005. This much data means that doctors and community leaders can identify clear patterns to help them make decisions on how to improve the community's health. One of the main things the health assessment looks at is the difference in healthcare access among people with high and low incomes. Overall, Yellowstone County has seen an increase in access to healthcare and an increase in physical activity. One statistic that stuck out to researchers were the rates of people thinking about suicide.
I think what really struck us this cycle is some of the mental health indicators. So about 1 in 5 Yellowstone County residents express that they have thought about suicide, and that's just kind of a gut punch. So being able to think about that and think more importantly, as a community, how do we respond?
Coming this summer, Healthy by Design will publish the Community Health Improvement Plan based off the data learned in this study. That plan will be created with input from community residents, city planning departments, and public partners, all hoping to improve the overall health of Yellowstone County. Russ and Jeanelle?
All right, thank you, Mitch.
Mayor Bill Cole steps up to the plate and joins the National Mayor's Task Force to stand together and fight to save the Billings Mustangs.
Major League Baseball has been planning to eliminate 42 minor league franchises across the country, the Mustangs being one of them. Now, those cuts would more than likely come ahead of the 2021 season and would help structure the process in which the way that players are brought up to the majors. Meetings have been pushing this forward this month, and the decision could be made any day.
Mayor Cole encourages anyone who has an interest in this to contact our congressional delegation and tell them how important it is to save the Mustangs.
Fortunately, Senator Daines, Senator Tester, and Congressman Gianforte have already gotten involved, which we're very appreciative of. But we're critically dependent upon them going to bat for us. We can't strike out.
There's no hard date set for when this decision, if made, will be, but discussions and negotiations continue.
Recent University of Montana economic update shows Billings on a slow growth pace, much slower than Bozeman and Missoula. The trends in retail and wholesale trade actually dipped the past 2 years when adjusted for inflation. Billings developer Steve Corning has been at the forefront of Billings development, especially on the West End, including King Avenue West and the Shiloh Crossing. Corning said it took 10 years to get Shiloh Crossing to where it is today. He continues to believe West Billings offers the best bet for business.
Well, historically, there's always been a very steady westward drumbeat in Billings. In other words, the development has continued to move west. Retailers like co-tenancy. They like the synergy of other retailers. And so the first thing they do is want to know who's around them, who's in the market, where the gorillas are. And by gorillas, I mean the Targets, the Walmarts, the Shields, the really dominant anchors. That's what they want to be next to. And because that all exists on the West End, there's probably a strong likelihood that any new retail will have a proclivity to go that direction.
Corning says local entrepreneurs have done a good job giving life to downtown Billings, but it would be hard to match Bozeman or Missoula because the Billings downtown area is so large. And we talked with Corning about several topics on Billings business, and you can see that entire interview on ktvq.com.
Well, all students back to class in Great Falls tomorrow after a citywide scare shut down all public and most private schools today. Fortunately, it turned out to be an empty threat. Great Falls school officials took no chances after a handwritten note was found this morning in an elementary school. It stated a threat of explosive devices being planted in multiple schools across the city. School was canceled for the day, along with after-school activities. Late this afternoon, the superintendent announced that nothing was discovered and that schools have been cleared for students to return tomorrow.
On the weather scene, Bob, up in Red Lodge, they aren't measuring the new snow in inches. They're measuring it in feet.
Oh, it's amazing. Here, the folks in Billings, we have a hard time realizing we have, like a dusting of snow is what we had last night. But in Red Lodge, it's another whole story. Take a look at this picture. We got this picture today from Gary and Joanne. I believe it's Herman. And as you'll notice, look at that. Look at how big the snow is. My goodness, it's several feet deep. That's their front door. Let me show you another one. John Potter got this picture of the snow drift up on top of the roof of his house. That looks like it's 3 or 4 feet, John. That's amazing. Look at how much snow is up there. All right, now the Doppler radar shows you that most of the snow continues to kind of move away from our area. It continues to push its way down in towards Wyoming. So we're starting to lose a lot of the stuff. But we still have a couple of things to talk about on our threat board. You'll notice we still have a wind advisory for the Beartooth foothills starting at 11 o'clock tonight. And also there in Sweetgrass County, up there by Big Timber, looking for winds there, also gusting to 60 miles per hour from 11 o'clock tonight to 11 o'clock tomorrow. And we'll have more in your forecast in a few more minutes.
All right. Thank you, Bob.
Well, President Trump wants to increase national security spending and slash foreign aid and aid to Americans who rely on safety net programs, including affordable housing, Medicaid, and student loan assistance.
It's all in the White House budget proposal for 2021. Natalie Brand has details of the plan and reaction from lawmakers.
The Trump administration's $4.8 trillion budget proposal for next year has landed on Capitol Hill, reflecting the president's priorities if he is elected for a second term. President Trump touted his budget plan at a White House business event with state governors.
We're going to have a very good budget with a very powerful military budget because we have no choice.
The proposal calls for increased spending on defense, the border wall, and infrastructure. It cuts non-defense discretionary funding by 5% and makes changes to safety net programs such as work requirements for Medicaid and food stamps. The budget also slashes foreign aid by 21% and funding to the Environmental Protection Agency by 26%.
We're putting out a plan today that over a period of not that long a period of time brings our budget and our deficit down to what it should be, which is close to zero.
The plan aims to balance the budget in 15 years, but the Office of Management and Budget acknowledges the plan makes assumptions, including about continued economic growth at a rate that exceeds what some economists project. The president's budget is expected to be dead on arrival in the Democratic-controlled House. The House Budget Committee Chairman John Yarmuth issued a statement calling the proposal destructive and irrational. Acting OMB Director Russell Vogt is expected to defend the president's budget on Capitol Hill Wednesday. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Now, the Republican chair of the Senate Budget Committee, Mike Enzi of Wyoming, issued a statement describing the president's budget as just a list of suggestions.
And he called on his colleagues to work across party lines to control the country's debt and deficits.
Still to come on your 10 o'clock news, a Livingston couple honored for taking action to help save at least 5 children from abuse.
And later in sports, legendary Carroll coach Mike Van Diest is coming out of retirement, but his destination may surprise you.
You're watching MTN News with Jeanelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Breen. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.